I just saw the title Maid, and I had no clue this would be as emotionally devastating as it was. Such a simple title. Such a crazy show. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk Maid. This is the brand new series that I didn't know all that much about, but I need you guys down below. Is this a series that surprised you? And if you didn't know anything about it, it's on Netflix. Let's talk about it. Inspired by the New York Times best-selling memoir Maid, hard work, low pay, and a mother's will to survive, Maid follows the story of Alex, a single mother who turns to house cleaning to barely make ends meet as she escapes an abusive relationship and overcomes homelessness to create a better life for her daughter, Maddy. Seen through the emotional yet humorous lens of a desperate but determined woman, this series is a raw and inspiring look at a mother's resilience, and Margaret Qualley as Alex, Annie McDowell as her mother, Paula. Those are kind of the performances of note, but you have so many more people, from Tracy Viller as Yolanda to Anika Nani Rose as Regina. Billy Burke plays Hank. Nick Robinson plays Sean. By the way, I had no clue this was Nick Robinson at first because it just didn't look like Nick Robinson, and then as we get further through the series, I'm like, oh my god, that's the guy from Jurassic World. It's pretty crazy. And what the series does, it starts with episode 1, and 10 episodes total. Each episode comes in around an hour, and it's not necessarily a show I'm going to recommend you to binge, because that's exactly what I did today. I took 10 hours out of my day just to get a review out to you, and I will admit it was more difficult than anticipated, not because of the quality of the show, but just because of how heavy it is. Right off the bat in the first episode, you see what Alex has to go through, kind of escaping what she believes to be a bad situation, and as the episode progresses, you see those flashbacks as to what happened, and you're with that character like, okay, you have to get out of here, but where do you go? Who do you turn to at that point? Because she has a strained relationship with multiple family members, especially her mother. And when we first meet her mother, we see this very artistic, kind of outlandish individual that comes across as someone you just don't like. And you don't like the fact that at one point she has to leave her daughter with her mother. But as the show progresses, and I say this about multiple characters, even though you still may not like some of the characters, you do learn more about everyone. Not just Alex, but what Alex has to endure through that episode. It seems like one thing after another, and eventually she ends up in this housing situation that she has to get everything together within 7 days, or something really bad is going to happen, to the point to where she believes she could lose custody of her daughter. Now, I won't go any further than that. That's just kind of the tip of the iceberg in the first episode, but in subsequent episodes, she meets people and then eventually lands a secure role as a maid, right? It takes her a bit to get there, but she gets there. The first time you really see her begin to overcome or feel empower in this show is when she's telling someone off in, I believe it was the first episode, maybe the second episode, but that's really the first good thing that happens to her. So you're with the character who is just going through mental abuse and, in general, a situation that you want her out of because you want her safety. Even more importantly than that, you want her daughter's safety. And you feel that love that she has for her daughter. You see that in a couple of flashbacks, and I keep saying the word flashback. There are a lot of flashbacks throughout this show, and sometimes those can seem jarring and kind of shoehorned, but they don't really feel that way because every moment that we get is integral for the moment happening or something that is to come. And even the character of Sean, you don't really know why he's acting the way he's acting at first. You get an idea, but the episodes to come after the first couple of episodes flesh out that character, flesh out her mother, flesh out that relationship with her mother's boyfriend, right? She calls him cilantro. His name is Basil or something like that. So there is this subtle sense of humor in the episodes because she's just enduring so much. She has to throw that in every now and then. And even the situation she finds herself in with the first person's house that she cleans, her dog, in the first episode, she can't help but to smile when it's all going down because it's a lot to take in. I'm with her in the fact that humor is sometimes the best way to get yourself through these situations, and her friend that she meets in this complex does such a good job of getting her motivated, and we'll see her at moments in this show where she's curled up on the floor because she's having to deal with a lot. But it's also grounded and lifelike and relatable, and nothing is really on the nose. I feel like some people, I've already seen a couple of reviews on IMDb, people who probably didn't watch the show, and they're just going to be like, well, this is, a series that's simply trying to do one thing, and it's, really in your face. But I don't think it is at all. I thought this series was so well written. I mean, the screenplay is just so concrete throughout. The only real things that bother me about the style of the show is when we would see a text message, or they're doing this thing throughout where every time she talks about spending money, that money that she is spending or thinking about spending will pop up on screen with this sound effect that sometimes was a bit obnoxious, and that came across as maybe just a bit cheesy, but it's definitely getting that point across, which I appreciate. But as we progress, things begin to shift and change for her, and it's just this emotional journey that I believe was handled and constructed in a way that was really solid. And then just the cast in general, and I know I hit on it, but Qualley, who some people will recognize from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and other projects, I mean, she is just incredible, carrying this entire series on her shoulders. It's a lot to lift. It's a big burden, clearly, to carry. She's great. Billy Burke is great. McDowell, her crazy, really, like I said, an artistic character, but that performance comes across at first as obnoxious, but eventually you kind of simmer down there. Tracy and Aaron and all of the actors and actresses involved, and the sympathy that some people show, and then the aggressiveness that other, like, government employees and lawyers and all the legal stuff. You're just like, God, why you gotta act like this, man? Just be nice for once in your life. But that's the frustration, the expected frustration that will come from a show like this. I will admit it's a long show, and like I said, the binge quality is just not there. It doesn't have to be, but at some points you can kind of feel the length, and the pacing of this show does occasionally hit that wall, but it was nothing that I couldn't overcome, and it was nothing that makes me say this show is bad, because it's simply not. It is a great show. Before I give you guys my score, I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review, drop your thumbs up down below, and let's spread some recognition for this show that I feel like will fly under the radar. Maid is a lot to take in, but it is beautifully written, and Qualley's performance is one of the best of the year. I'm going an 8.5 and 85% for Maid, which, again, I love shows like this that come out of nowhere. They're completely unexpected, and the cast ended up being one of the better casts I've seen on Netflix this year. You guys, the best. Come back. Plenty of videos tomorrow. I'll see you soon.